Hi everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll be discussing risk parity portfolio. So we'll be starting with what are the problems with traditional portfolio allocation methods, and then we will go on to discuss the theory behind the risk parity portfolio. Then we will discuss the mathematical aspect of risk parity portfolio, and we'll be ending today's lecture with some examples of the risk parity portfolio. Okay, so let's get started. The concept of risk parity portfolio, right? So, if we see the traditional method, for example, what are certain ways through which you can allocate some fund? For example, let us say you have around let us say you have around $10,000, right, and you have to invest in n assets. Okay, so what are certain ways through which you can allocate your fund into these assets? So the first example can be you can allocate so equal funds into this asset, right? Equal funds to all asset, right? So this is one of the portfolio allocation method that you can try. The other method can be allocating according to the market capitalization. Okay, so that asset will be receiving higher fund that has higher market capitalization, right? Or what are some other methods? Some other method can be going with that as assigning weight proportional to the historical data set which is having a higher historical SARP ratio. Okay, so SARP ratio, this can be one of the strategy to allocate fund, right? And then one of the traditional method is MVO. Okay, MVO, it is nothing but mean variance optimization. What is mean variance optimization? So in mean variance optimization, you discuss the relation between mean and variance of a portfolio to allocate your weights to these assets. Okay, so for example, you have this fund, so how much weight should you assign to it? So let us say this is your weight matrix. Okay, W1 W2 to Wn. So we say basically you have n assets, right? So you will have basically n weights. So W1 is the weight of, so according to which the total fund will be, so the total fund that will be allocated to asset 1 is W1 into $10,000, right? So now in mean variance optimization, you allocate this weight according to the relation between mean and variance. For example, minimum variance portfolio. So you will go with that portfolio which is giving you the minimum variance. Okay, minimum variance. Or for example, you will go with that portfolio that is giving you the maximum SARP ratio, right? So these are certain ways through which you can assign weights to your portfolio. But these are the traditional method. And one of the problem with the traditional method is uh, the risk is not allocated, so they are not truly diversified. What does true diversification mean? True diversification means the risk of the portfolio is not diversified. They are concentrated in some of the assets. For example, let us consider one of the most popular asset combination, that is 60% stocks plus 40% bond. Okay, now when you see this combination, let us assume that so this is W1, right? So W1 is basically 0.6 and this is W2, this is basically 0.2 or 0.4. Okay, now basically certain things. What are the things? That the variance of portfolio, the formula in case of two asset is W1 square variance of the first asset, then W2 square, and then variance of second asset. Okay, and then 2 W1 W2 covariance of both the asset, right? Asset 1, asset 2, right? Now when you see this variance, uh, so and then what will be the risk factor? So this will be the square of variance, right? Nothing else. This risk is nothing but volatility. Now when you see this thing, so here sigma 1 is, so basically sigma 1 is the standard deviation of a stock, right? And sigma 2 is a standard deviation of bond. Okay, so now when you see the variance of portfolio, let us divide it into two part. Okay, so this will be plus W1 W2 covariance of A1 A2, and then another part will be W2 weight of 2 square sigma 2 square plus W1 W2 covariance of A1 A2. So this one is the so this is the total risk of the portfolio, not actually, but it is the square root of this will be the total risk of the portfolio. But let us just for time being assume that this is the risk of the portfolio. Then this much amount of total risk, basically this one and half of this portion, so half of this term is coming from a stock, okay, and this portion basically this portion, this is W2 square sigma 2 square, so this part is coming from bond, okay. So now when you see, you observe that the second term is equal, right? This part and this part is equal, only W1 square and W2 square, W1 square sigma square and W2 square sigma square is changing. So you can see that. Now let us just analyze W1 square. Just a minute. Let us just analyze W1 square sigma 1 square and W2 square sigma 2 square. Okay. W1 is the weight of stock, which is already 0.6. W2 is the weight of bond, which is 0.4. Now sigma 1 is the standard deviation of uh, stocks return, and sigma 2 is the standard deviation of bonds return. You know that sigma 1 will be very much greater than sigma 2. Basically bond is not riskier and its volatility is very less. Okay. So then sigma 1 square, then W1 square sigma 1 square will be very much greater than W2 square sigma 2 square. That is why majority of the variance, so this term and half of this term is very much greater than this term and half of this term. That basically means that a major part of variance is coming from a stock and not that of bond, okay. So in general, if you put traditional values, that you will observe that if the variance of portfolio is V, then 0.85 to 0.9 part of B will be coming from a stock. That means around 85 to 90% of the risk of the portfolio is coming from a stock, even when the weight of the stock was 0.6. This is the problem with the traditional portfolio method. The problem is that your risk is not diversified. 90% of your risk is coming from stock. This is not the true diversification. And that is the concept of risk parity portfolio. So risk parity portfolio, what is the concept of risk parity portfolio? Risk parity portfolio is based on the concept that all the assets in your portfolio should contribute equal risk. Okay. So risk parity portfolio is based on the concept that all assets in the portfolio contribute equal risk, okay, equal risk. So for example, if the total risk of the portfolio is R and there are n assets, okay, then all the assets will be contributing a risk of R by n. So this much risk will be contributed by all the assets. So you can see that the risk contributed by all the assets are equal. So that is a true diversification, okay. So this is the concept of risk parity portfolio. Now we will be seeing the mathematical aspect of risk parity portfolio in detail. Before that, let us just revisit the concept of variance, mean, and variance of a portfolio. Okay. So sigma is the variance. So for example, let us just see for a detail. So for example, x is a random variable. Then this is the mean, right? And then variance of x is defined as expectation of x square minus expectation of x square, right? So this is the variance of x. Now when you have a portfolio of asset, okay, so when you have one asset, then you can easily calculate its variance with this formula, right? Now when you have a portfolio of n asset, then how will you calculate variance in that case? So in that case the variance is given by this formula, omega t, then this is variance covariance matrix, omega transpose, and then omega. So omega is nothing but weight, okay. And so weight is basically w1 w2 w3 to wn, right? So in case of a multi asset portfolio, your variance of the portfolio, this is the variance of portfolio, okay. So this is the variance of portfolio. So in case of multi-asset, your the variance of the portfolio is given by this formula, and this one is basically variance and covariance matrix, right? You know what is variance and covariance matrix? Get it? You can easily calculate it using Python, so not an issue. And so this is the variance of portfolio, and then risk of the portfolio is nothing but volatility of portfolio, and it is nothing but a square root of variance. So that is basically a square root of omega transpose into variance covariance matrix and then weight. So this is the risk of the portfolio. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of risk parity portfolio? The purpose of risk parity portfolio is to achieve equal risk. Okay, get it? Now, let us start discussing the mathematical aspect of risk parity portfolio. So now we have an asset case. Okay, so we have an asset. What is our purpose? Our purpose is to find what weight should we assign to each of the asset in our portfolio so that all the assets contribute equal risk. Okay, so that is our purpose. Get it? So our purpose is to achieve, get that value of W1, W2, W3 to Wn, using which we can basically achieve the case of risk parity portfolio where all the assets are contributing equal risk to the portfolio. Okay, get it? So that is our today's purpose, right? So let us just discuss few terms. So this is basically weight, right? And then this is sigma I square. This is basically variance of asset I, right? And then it is nothing but covariance of between asset I and asset J. Okay. So, and basically this one is equal to, so covariance of I and J will be equal to covariance of J and I basically. So covariance of J and I. Now let's just start discussing. Basically, uh, as we have already seen, this is the risk of the portfolio, right? So this is the risk of the portfolio. How is risk of portfolio defined? It is nothing but square root of W transpose into variance covariance matrix and then W. Okay, so this is the variance. Now when you express it in terms of, basically when you just multiply it, okay, so you can see it for two assets. I will be showing it. It will be nothing but summation for all I omega I square sigma I square plus summation for all I, and then for all j not equal to I wi wj sigma ij. So this is the, so this is, they both are equal. Okay, so this is the notation. So how do we denote it? So this is just a notation, and this is the most simplest form, right, of the risk of the portfolio. In case you just don't get it, how are we writing this like this? So let us just write it for two asset case. Okay, so what will be the risk of the portfolio when we have two asset? Okay, so in this case weight will be nothing but W1 W2, right? And in that case the variance and covariance matrix will be nothing but 1 2 1 2, then it will be sigma 1 square sigma 2 square, it will be sigma 1 2, it will be sigma 1 2, right? And then what will be the, so the, we are discussing just an example of two asset case, right? So in that case what will be this one sigma 2. So at this moment let us just calculate a square of risk. Okay, so this will be nothing but this one. What is this term? This term is the transpose of W, right? And then this is the variance and covariance matrix term. So it will be sigma 1 square, sigma 1 2, sigma 1 2, and sigma 2 square. Okay. And then we have weight matrix. So this one omega. If we just multiply it, okay, what will we get? Let us see. So first of all, let us multiply this term and this term, right? So what will it be? It will be nothing but omega 1 sigma 1 square plus omega 2 sigma 1 2, right? And then we will be multiplying this matrix with this matrix, right? So this is just a simple matrix multiplication. It will be omega 1 sigma 1 2 plus omega 2 sigma 2 square, right? And then we have this matrix remaining now. Now if we just multiply these two matrix, what will we get? We will be getting nothing but omega 1 square sigma 1 square plus omega 1 omega 2 sigma 1 2 plus omega 1 omega 2 sigma 1 2 plus this one, right? What is this? This is nothing but omega 1 square sigma 1 square plus omega 2 square sigma 2 square plus 2 omega 1 omega 2 sigma 1. Now compare this term with this term. So basically first, so if you multiply omega transpose variance covariance matrix with weight matrix, what you get? Basically this is so basically you had two asset, right? So basically this is nothing but summation for all asset weight I square and then their variances square, right? And this is nothing but this term, and this term is nothing but this one. Okay, so get it? So basically the risk term is nothing but this one, I guess. So I hope you get the intuition of how are we writing the risk term like this. Okay, now we'll be defining an important term related to risk parity portfolio, and that is marginal risk contribution. Okay, marginal risk contribution. Okay, so this is right. So this term is nothing but a risk of portfolio, right? This term is nothing but risk of portfolio, and this whole term is basically marginal risk contribution of asset I. What does marginal risk contribution of asset I mean? Basically, it this is defined as the change in portfolio risk when you change the weight of asset I by a certain amount. So basically, you have an asset, right? So now, when you are changing the weight of asset I, okay, so when you are changing the weight of asset I by a certain amount, what is the change in the risk of the portfolio? That is basically called the marginal risk contribution of asset I. Okay, get it? What is marginal risk contribution of asset I? It is nothing but what is the change in the risk of the portfolio when you change the weight of asset I by a certain amount, right? So this is the marginal risk contribution of asset I. Got it? Now let us just evaluate what will be its value. Okay, what will be the value of it? Okay, good. Let's get started. So basically, right? So let us just see what this value is before we calculate its value. Let us just see what this one is. Okay, so this one is nothing but summation for all I wi square sigma I square, then summation for all I summation for all j which are not equal to I wj, right? wj and then sigma ij. This is the term. So basically we have to differentiate it with respect to I. Okay, so let us see how do we do it. So first of all, it will be nothing but 1 by 2 root under this term, whole term, right? So what is this whole term? So 1 by 2 root under whole term, right? Into, then we have to differentiate the inner term with respect to wi. So let us just see what will happen. So when you will differentiate this, just a minute, summation for all I not equal to j. Okay, so when you differentiate this term, you get a 2wi, right? You get a term called 2wi. So let us just take 2 outside. Okay, so when you okay, and then you get wi. So basically you get nothing but wi and then sigma I square, right? Now when you differentiate this term, so basically you see, when you are having a two asset case, so basically for all I, for all I, basically you are getting 2 times wi. You can observe it. For basically, for example, let us say the combination is I equal to 2 and j is equal to 3. Okay, let us say I equal to 2 and j equal to 3. So basically you will be having this term 2 omega 2. So basically you will be having the term called, just a minute, 2 omega 2 omega 3 2 3, right? You'll having this term here, right, in the variance term. So that is why here also the two term will be coming outside, and then when you are differentiating it with respect to w2, then this term will be cutting, right? So you will just have summation for all j not equal to I omega j sigma ij, right? And then uh, so this so basically we can remove this 2 and this 2. So the upper term is omega I sigma I square plus summation for all j not equal to I omega j sigma ij, and then this term. So basically this whole term, right? So this whole term is nothing but this one. So this is nothing but this. So change in the portfolio risk when we have a small change in the weight of asset I, and it is nothing but, this whole term is nothing but marginal risk contribution of asset I. Okay, marginal risk contribution of asset I. Got it? If you don't understand what is this differentiation, so I just suggest you take a two asset case. Okay, just take a two asset case. In that case, you can write the risk of the portfolio, right? So in two asset case, what is the risk of the portfolio? This one. So basically, take a two asset case and then try to write the marginal risk contribution of any of the asset, basically the first asset or the second asset, and then you will understand this derivation. Okay. Now, this is the marginal risk contribution of asset I. What is the total risk contribution of asset I? Total risk contribution of asset I. So the total risk contribution of asset I is nothing but weight of asset I into, just a minute, the total risk contribution of asset I is nothing but risk contribution of asset I equal to weight of asset I into marginal risk contribution of asset I. Similarly, what is the risk contribution of asset J in the portfolio? So portfolio J will contribute a risk equal to omega J into marginal risk contribution of asset J, right? So this is the, so now let us say we have 10 assets. So this is the risk contribution by the first asset, this is the risk contribution by the second asset. In this way we can find the risk contribution of all the assets. Now let's get back to risk parity portfolio. What is the concept of risk parity portfolio? Risk parity portfolio is, the concept is all assets should contribute equal risk. So basically what is our purpose? Our purpose is that risk contribution of asset 1 should be equal to risk contribution of asset 2 should be equal to risk contribution of asset n. And then so for example, if the risk of the portfolio is this one, then this is nothing but the summation of all the risk, right? So this is nothing but summation of all the risk. Got it? So we'll be ending the lecture, this part of the lecture here only. So what is our purpose? So if we just summarize the today's lecture, we started with the discussion of traditional methods in which we see that the risk is concentrated in some of the asset. Okay. Now, when the risk of the portfolio is concentrated in some of the stake, it's give you a certain drawback in your portfolio. So for example, when for example your risk is concentrated in technical sector, so your and the technical sector is basically declining in performance, so your portfolio performance will basically get very down. So basically your risk is not diversified, that is not true diversification. So there is a concept called risk parity portfolio, in which the concept is all the assets in the portfolio should contribute equal risk. In that way the risk would be diversified, and your risk and the total risk won't be concentrated in few of the stock, right, few of the asset basically. And then we discuss the concept of marginal risk contribution. Marginal risk contribution is nothing but the marginal risk contribution of asset I is defined as the change in the risk of the portfolio when you change the weight of asset I by a certain amount. Okay, and then we define what is how much risk any asset is contributing to the portfolio. So how do you find how much risk any asset is contributing to the portfolio? You just multiply the weight of that asset. You just multiply the weight of that asset with the marginal risk contribution of that asset in the portfolio. So basically, the risk contributed by an asset I in the portfolio is weight of asset I, WI, into marginal risk contribution of asset I, that is MCR of I. Okay, that's it. In the tomorrow's so in the next lecture, we'll be discussing few examples of marginal risk contribution, and then you will see how do we find weight according to risk parity portfolio. Okay, thanks a lot.